Heavy Bag Boxing TV.
Y'all make sure you go sub up to my man Heavy Bag Boxing, man.
Get your dumb ass in, hit this bag.
The Heavy Bag Boxing TV.
Y'all just go ahead and subscribe to Heavy Bag Boxing TV because he be lit on his channel.
And Heavy Bag Boxing.
Heavy Bag Boxing TV.
Yo, shout out to Heavy Bag Boxing TV.
Heavy Bag Boxing TV.
Heavy Bag Boxing TV.
All right, man. Erickson Lubin versus Jesus Ramos. Now, I seen everybody saying that this was a robbery. This was just a flat out robbery. And listen, this is one of those fights. As a fan, it depends on what you like. Let's talk about it. What up, YouTube? Big T, Heavy Bag Boxing TV, man. Get your goof ass in here. Hit that bag, hit that like button for your boy. That helps the channel. You know, I appreciate that love. Shout out my gang, man, my bag hitters. Y'all most definitely know the count. From a fan standpoint, and obviously from a judge standpoint as well, it depends on what you like. What's, you know what I'm saying, what you paying attention to. Now, if you enjoy that pressure style from the who appeared to be the bigger fighter in this bout, in a Jesus Ramos, you saw the pressure. You saw him being able to push Erickson Lubin, especially early on in the fight. I would say in the first 6 rounds, kind of push him and bully him up against the ropes a little bit and unleash a series of flurries. Great combination punching, and landing some really heavy good shots. In fact, he did actually outland Erickson Lubin in this fight 145 to 92, and that is another stat line that would lean towards Ramos winning this fight. But of course, this is judged round by round. But a lot of people enjoy that style, that pressure style, that walk you down on the front foot fighting style that Ramos brought to this bout. But on the other hand, people enjoy the defensive style and the jabbing from Erickson Lubin. Now, Erickson Lubin was able to out-jab Ramos 378 to 378 thrown to 274 thrown from Ramos, right? So the jab was constantly at work for Erickson Lubin, on top of a really button-up defense where he was getting touched up along the ropes, but when the fight was in the center of the ring, it was all Erickson Lubin for the most part. The only real success you could say Ramos had was when he was able to come off the front foot and kind of push Erickson Lubin up against the ropes. In the middle of the ring, it was all Erickson Lubin. He managed to kind of keep the fight in the center of the ring. As most people would say, he rallied in those later rounds, especially 9, 10, and 11. So this came down to what the judges liked better. Right, so obviously for the judges, they appeared to respect the jab of Erickson Lubin and saw the defense as he was able to avoid a lot of punishment that he could have taken from Ramos. Now for me, I'm just speaking on from what I saw and how I felt about the fight. I could appreciate the style of Ramos in this fight. I thought he did really good work up against those ropes. Now, I give Erickson Lubin all of the credit in the world. He was able to box, right? He was able to, I felt like, definitely outbox the bigger man in the center of the ring. But I thought the work that Ramos was able to do up against those ropes, especially early on in the fight, was significant. He did come off the gas, I felt like, a little bit in those later rounds, where I felt like Erickson Lubin was able to keep the fight in the center of the ring and definitely put away some of those rounds. But if I had to say, hey, who won this fight, I would have to lean towards Ramos. All right. Now, not taking away from the effort of Erickson Lubin. I just felt like the pressure, the combination punches, I felt like he had the bigger, harder punches when he did get the opportunity to land those. I would have to have leaned towards Ramos. And now, listen, I didn't score this fight round by round. All right. And I think I'm going to have to go back and watch this fight for the third time. But after watching it again for the second time, I just appreciate it. And again, I can't be mad at the decision because Erickson Lubin did display some really, really good defense, some really button-up defense. It was some really great counter shots there. And he most definitely was able to out-jab Ramos for the most part, for the better part of these 12 rounds, constantly keeping that jab out there each round. So that could have very well been eye-catching to the judges. But I could see, throughout this fight, the jab was more or less to try to keep Ramos off of him. But they wasn't, for me, landing and being significant in this fight. He never hit Ramos with anything I felt like was significant in this fight. But on the other hand, I thought Ramos landed a few shots that were really, really good shots, eye-catching shots that, I scored well for Ramos. But again, I just truly believe at the end of the day, you can't be mad at anybody for seeing this fight either way. To call it a robbery, I understand calling it a robbery if you appreciate the style in which Ramos fought this fight. But from a pure boxing standpoint, if you're a big fan of the sweet science, which I feel like a lot of judges are, you're going to give Erickson Lubin a lot of credit for the defense, the footwork, fighting off the back foot, avoiding a lot of big shots, winning the mind game and the chess game in there, and then being able to adjust later on in the fight and rallying and somehow managing to keep the fight in the center of the ring where he pretty much dominated for Erickson Lubin. All right. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section. Do you feel like it was a robbery? I can't front. I would have had to given it to Jesus Ramos. I thought he did enough to walk away and remain undefeated in that fight. I appreciated his style in that fight a little bit more than Erickson Lubin. It's just my opinion. That's all I got for y'all on this one, man. Big T.O. Heavy Bag. Talk to him, Roger.
Most motherfuckers don't know shit about boxing.